Okay, in this video, we are going to talk about some of the more advanced slicing techniques using iloc. And in the previous videos, right, we talked about how to slice rectangular regions and parts of rows or columns using this notation with rows and columns, and then the colon operator to specify multiple rows and multiple columns. So, in one thing to notice about this, and I guess before I begin, right, remember my setup is that I have all my data, right, entered in data, a variable named data. That's what I read it into. And so that's what I'm using. It's that name. So if you have a different name here than data, then you're going to have to replace data here by a different name when you slice. Okay, so in the last example in the previous video, right, we sliced this rectangular region right here. And so the columns went from 1 to 4. So one thing to notice about this is if you get rid of the end number. So here on the columns, I put start at column 1, then colon, and then I don't put any end number in there. What it will do is go all the way to the end of that row. Okay, so here I want columns 5 through 10, right? And then 1 colon. So what that did, right, was started on those columns here, 5, oops, right here. So I'll get rows 5 through 9. And then the colon, there was no number to the right of the colon, so that means slice all the way to the end, however far that is. So that's what I get when I do that. Okay. And likewise, if I put that 4 back in there, how it was before, and then I don't put a colon number to the left of the colon, right? And I click run all, right? So that will say, hey, I want columns 5 through 9 here, right? And instead of start from the beginning, right? Because there's no number here, and go all the way up to, but not including column 4, right? So what that's going to slice is here, rows 5 through 9, all the way up to, but not including column 4 would be this part right here, okay? So if you don't put a number here at the beginning, it's going to start at the beginning, okay? And do it like that. So you can do that on either the rows or the columns, right? So if you want to slice out an entire row, right? I'm going to erase all this. Let's say one thing to notice here, right, is that it included this data, right? And it did put the indexes there, but the index is not really part of the data itself, okay? So let's say that I want to extract all of the data from 2016 here, right? So I want to extract from here all the way to here. I want everything out of that row. So that's in row 6, right? So one thing you could do is just tell it, okay, on the iloc command, I want to extract from row 6, and then don't put a start or ending number with the colon over here. So I want row 6, I want all the columns, basically, is what that's saying. So you can see that extracts out the whole row, 2016, 12, 18, 33, and 25. All right, and likewise, if we wanted to extract out a whole column, now there are other ways to do this for sure, but these videos are just focusing on iloc. Let's say we want to slice out this entire column right here. Okay, so what we would do is in the rows, we want all the rows. So we would just put a colon, right? With no numbers either before the colon or after. That means start at the beginning and go all the way until you get to the end. And then for the column, right, we want column 3 here. Okay, so if we run that, we should just get all of column 3 extracted. So starting at 30, 46, 43, all the way down to 35. So you can see we've extracted all of the data in that column and stored it into this variable x. Okay. All right, that is it for data slicing using iloc. You can use a lot of these things that I showed you in combination to extract pretty much just whatever you want in there. There are some other techniques that I haven't shown in this video, though. So there is a little bit more that you can do. But this should be enough for our class to get through at least the first few assignments.